How Neanderthals survived 400,000 years of ice ages. Intro. Soft icy winds, howling soundscape. Narrator calm, deep voice. 400,000 years. That's how long the Neanderthals survived on this planet. Through endless winters, brutal ice ages, and violent warming periods that reshaped the world time and time again. They weren't primitive brutes. They were masters of survival, thriving in conditions that would kill most modern humans within days. But how did they do it? How did Neanderthals carve out an existence in a frozen, predator-filled Europe, long before Homo sapiens ever arrived? This is the story of survival, of endurance, of how the Neanderthals weathered almost 500,000 years of ice and fire. Chapter 1. The world they inherited. Imagine Europe 400,000 years ago. Not the green fields and cities we know today, but an unforgiving world of ice sheets and mammoth-filled steppes. Glaciers stretched for miles. Temperatures dropped so low that entire forests froze and cracked under the weight of snow. And when the ice retreated, massive floods, storms, and scorching summers took their place. Into this harsh and unstable world emerged a new human species, the Neanderthals. Their ancestors, Homo heidelbergensis, had spread across Africa and into Europe. Over generations, these people adapted to colder climates, stockier builds, stronger bones, and larger noses that warmed freezing air. By 300,000 years ago, the Neanderthals were fully distinct, Europe's native humans. Chapter 2. Built for ice. The Neanderthal body was a survival machine. Shorter, but far stronger than us. Broad chests, barrel-like ribcages, thick bones. They burned calories faster, keeping their muscles and organs warm even in brutal cold. Their skulls were shaped differently too, with large nasal passages to warm icy air, heavy brows for protection, and powerful jaws that could crush bone for marrow. They weren't fragile beings clinging to life. They were Ice Age warriors, built to endure. Chapter 3. Master Hunters. Survival meant one thing: food. And Neanderthals were experts at getting it. Imagine a group stalking a woolly rhinoceros across a frozen plain. They carried wooden spears hardened in fire, thrusting them into massive prey in coordinated ambushes. Archaeological sites reveal bones of mammoth, bison, horses, reindeer, all taken down by Neanderthal hunters. These weren't scavengers. They were apex predators. But hunting giant beasts came at a cost. Neanderthal skeletons show fractures similar to modern rodeo riders, crushed ribs, broken arms, healed skull injuries. Every hunt was a gamble with death. Still, they endured, because every kill meant warmth, fat, protein, survival. Chapter 4. The Tools of Endurance. They weren't just muscle. Neanderthals were innovators. They crafted stone hand axes and blades. They shaped wooden spears, some over 300,000 years old. They mastered fire, not just for warmth, but for cooking meat, smoking hides, keeping predators at bay. Caves became sanctuaries. Fires burned deep inside, their smoke staining the walls black. Families huddled together, telling stories, teaching children, surviving night after night. And their tools evolved with the climate. When the world grew colder, they adapted. When prey migrated, they followed. Chapter 5. Family and Community. Survival wasn't just about strength, it was about each other. Neanderthals cared for their sick. Fossils show individuals who lived for years despite crippling injuries, meaning others must have fed and protected them. They buried their dead, sometimes with flowers or tools, showing a spark of spirituality. They looked after children, shared food, and cooperated in hunts. They weren't lone beasts. They were people, bound by family, survival, and love. Chapter 6. Fire and Ice. But the world was unforgiving. During the Ice Ages, temperatures dropped so far that even the seas froze. Imagine nights where the only warmth came from a flickering fire, while wolves howled outside the cave. Imagine entire herds migrating south, leaving Neanderthals starving in frozen wastelands. Yet when the glaciers melted, life didn't get easier. Torrential rains, floods, and sudden droughts shattered ecosystems. The Ice Ages were cycles of destruction and rebirth. And Neanderthals adapted through them all. Chapter 7. The Arrival of U.S. For nearly 400,000 years, Neanderthals thrived alone. But around 60,000 years ago, a new species entered their world, us, Homo sapiens. We came from Africa with new tools, new strategies, larger social networks, and eventually, greater numbers. For a time, Neanderthals and sapiens lived side by side. They interbred, leaving their DNA in all non-African humans alive today. They shared techniques, competed for prey, and sometimes fought for survival. But as climates worsened, food grew scarce, and human populations expanded, Neanderthals began to vanish. By 40,000 years ago, they were gone. But their survival legacy, still alive in us. Chapter 8. The Legacy of Survival. Neanderthals endured 400,000 years of brutal climate swings. They hunted mammoth and rhino with wooden spears. They built shelters, cared for their sick, buried their dead. They survived through love, ingenuity, and sheer resilience. And in the end, they became part of us. Their DNA influences our immune systems, our skin, even our emotions. They were not failures of evolution. They were survivors, for longer than our species has even existed. Outro. So when you think of the Neanderthals, don't imagine mindless cavemen. Imagine a people who stared down endless winters, who lived and thrived where few could, who survived 400,000 years of fire and ice. And remember, in every one of us, a part of them still survives.